Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be taking a return visit to the amazing Eric Gadd collection. So you may remember about a month or so ago, I went down with my friend Maurice, and Maurice purchased basically all of Eric's vintage paperback and book collection. I bought a little bit of it, but the majority of it was to Maurice, and we just couldn't get it all in the van on that first trip. So we always knew we had to go back and make a second trip. And that actually happened yesterday. So I've pulled lots of footage together. We found loads of great stuff as well. And Maurice and I go through some of the more unusual bits and pieces at the end of this video, as well as I show you just a handful more of a few more bits that I've got for my own collection. But the main thing is we get the chance to have a bit more detailed look through what was left of Eric's amazing collection. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so I was able to get to Eric's house. I got there about half an hour before Maurice arrived, and I nipped in and filmed what we had in front of us, basically. So amazingly, last time we filled up both our vehicles, we didn't have room to get all the books in. So Maurice was making a second trip down now, about a month after the initial one. With a hire van, and the aim to fill the van up and get all the other books on board. And this is the tail end of the Pan books. Really nice collection of those. And what I made a point of doing this time, since we got a little bit more space, was to actually go through some of the shelves and have a look at the front jackets cover by cover. There's an awful lot of stuff in here that still, hasn't been filmed. There was just too much of it. And in the end, well, you'll get to see. We still didn't manage to get it all on board, but we got most of it loaded up. But it was a tall order, I tell you. You just don't realise how many books are there. And obviously, there was some room. From last time, we didn't go away empty-handed, but at the same time, there was still an awful lot that needed packing up. So quite a job on our hands, I think you could safely say. Now, there were some sort of more interesting sort of series, some crime series. There was lots of travel. I came across a lot of sporting stuff this time round. We'll see a table full of interesting bits and pieces where Maurice goes through those at the end of stuff that we just weren't expecting, and really unusual bits and pieces. Certainly, it would seem that Eric's focus was softback publications of the 1930s. That was the priority, I think. Yeah, the Thorsby Society, don't know much about that. All sorts of, like really weird, eclectic stuff from that early sort of period, which, well, you just, when are you ever going to see it again? Quite a few books like that, Notes on Soldiering, lots of wartime and wartime-related stuff within this. And we do show all sorts of that later on. It was just such a weird mixture of stuff. And he had some very interesting tastes, we could say. Yeah, Itma, that's to time with the radio show. It's that man again. A few radio tie-ins. Those are quite nice, those big books there. But once again, softback. He was not a collector really of hardback books per se. It was all softback stuff. Although outside the main area was a few bookcases with his hardback collection in, and that was pretty much it. That was all that there was. A few hardback first editions and what have you there. Not much, but a bit. We did uncover a first of For Your Eyes Only without a dust wrapper, but it was a first printing. And some very unusual sort of early proof copies as well. Big one of this, like My Garden. I mean, just incredible, really. Years and years and years of it. A Fact magazine. Yeah, the Collins White Circle series. Those are quite nice, just a pile of Boy's Own, and from the 30s, beautiful condition. I thought we'd better have a look at them. I noticed a lot of them had a Cadbury's flash along the bottom. Cadbury's milk blocks, and Eric, of course, used to work for Cadbury's. I believe he was the rep for Cadbury's London. So he had a huge patch until he retired to the West Country. And we did come across a few other Cadbury's related things in the collection, like calendars and things like that. Now there's Maurice, and Maurice brought his son Mark as a bit of an extra pair of hands. And Mark was beavering away, didn't stop all day, filling the van up, carefully getting it stacked up, so he could take all the goodies home with us. But I got to admit, even I was really surprised at how much there still was to pack up. Absolutely loads of it. These are quite nice. These are little travel guides, and there was absolutely stacks of travel and travel related books. And it's not something I sort of particularly collect. I like the red guides, but I didn't see any of those there. These are very interesting. There's cricketing, rugby, football, old, small, like Playfair annuals, and that going right back to the 30s. Very, very nice indeed. We came across, in fact, there they are, a couple of early Wisdens from 1936 and 1935. Once again, that seemed to be his specialist era. 35, 36, 37 in particular. That was sort of Eric's forte. These are lovely once again. These are like how-to books, which are nothing on their own, but when you get a few of them together to make a collection, they just look absolutely fantastic. So I'll give you full details about how to get hold of some of this stuff if you're looking to buy it. Basically, it's all with Maurice at Zardoz Books, and there's a few ways you can get hold of him via email, through the website, and he's been putting some of his finds up onto eBay as well, some of the gangstery stuff. But some great stuff here. It was nice to actually be able to have a bit of a closer look at some of this stuff, you know. Wish I'd had a closer look at that 100 Cocktails. Yeah, very, very interesting. These are another sort of nice series. I've had some of these through my hands before, actually, and they do turn up. Yeah, quite a nice little series. They're numbered. Not too difficult to find these days if you want to track them down, but nice to see them all in a set. That's what's unusual, is you're seeing someone who's already taken the time to put a set together and they now look fantastic. Dart Game, that was quite a nice one. Modern Conjuring. And nice condition, those as well. As I said, not too difficult to find, even today, but nice to see all the same. Now these are some rambling books, and I mean, this is just an example. It's not all sort of collectible crime in Eric's collection. There was some very esoteric items, and these are, I think, have got their own charm. I mean, it's not like they're highly collectible in any way at all. These are very, very cheap and cheerful, but nice at the same time. They're really, really nice publications. Very evocative of when they were published, which is the 1930s and 40s, which was Eric's key period. There's not masses of stuff from the 20s, and there's, you know, not loads from the 50s. It was that 20s, 30s, 40s era. Big guides here, railway guides, timetables. And some other books on the railways. Some of these were a bit tricky to film because I was filming with one hand and moving the books with the other. But there was quite a bit of train-related stuff, so if that's your thing, once again, you might want to drop Maurice an email. Here's just an example, just an odd box of just interesting stuff. Some wartime bits and pieces. Hutchinson books. Just a real sort of miscellany, really, of stuff. But it just gives you an idea of the sorts of things that were in there. Yeah, a fair bit on the sport in the cricket, some very early football stuff from the 1930s, which I think is really excellent. I think someone will be happy when they come across those. More obscure series. These are some Mellifons. Don't know a lot about the Mellifont library. It's not one that I've ever really sort of tried to track down, but we found some good ones here. Now, I've not seen this before. This Courier magazine. Really, really nice, bold graphics of its period, really. Very nice. A ring bound, which is unusual. The spiral bound spines on it. Just very, very evocative of the time that they were made. This is another one, Courier magazine. Never seen any of these. Eric had a huge run. I mean, this is just looking at about half of them. And just look at the beautiful condition for their age. These are 30s into the 1940s. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oddly shaped, sort of oblong. Or even square. But yeah, tremendous run of those in very, very nice condition. And what beautiful covers on them. It's a special one there with lots of different covers. Now, this is a little box of some of the HMSO wartime publications. Now, you see these dotted around now and again, and they're generally not expensive either. They're like, £5 to £10, depending on condition. But what was unusual was just how many of them were here. I mean, this is virtually all of them, as far as I know. And there were several here that I'd never seen before. And I said they're not mega collectible. They're not really that difficult to come by. Some of it is a bit propagandist. It's not exactly the truth. These were produced during the war in a lot of cases, so they put a good spin on it for morale purposes. But at the same time, they're a fascinating bit of wartime memorabilia, and to see them all like this in one place was very interesting indeed. Yeah, quite unusual, but I guess we shouldn't have been surprised that Eric had this sort of stuff. That's interesting as well. Metropolitan Police at War. And these are Coastal Command, Bomber Command. They're the ones you come across quite a bit. There's some more interesting paperbacks. Some of these Gerald's libraries. These are some early picture cover ones, including a James Hadley Chase there, and the most famous one of all. Look at that. No Orchards for Miss Blandish. Very, very scarce. Yeah, good little run of books, those. Some good books, and we see those again towards the end. Maurice pulls a few of them out because they are quite unusual. Some more ones there. Crime Book Society. Yeah, very nice. Also very scarce. Not so scarce. I mean, these do turn out the Jackdaw books, but once again, they're collectible. They're collected by the number. The Jackdaw Library. These all got amalgamated into Hutchinson in the end. but there was a reasonable run of those. And then this series here by Nat Gould, these are all racing, horse racing related books. They're numbered, and there's quite a run of them. I don't think I've ever come across these before, but once again, seeing them in a run like this really is quite attractive, you know, particularly if you like horse racing related novels. I'm a fan of Dick Francis. That's as far as it goes, and I've enjoyed those, but these are from a much earlier period. And as you see, they're numbered, and they're all by the same author, and they're all horse racing related. Very, very interesting. I never even knew they existed, but quite a nice run there, those. Quite nice indeed. Evidently scarce. Very nice to see those. A few other related nice paperbacks on the end. East of Kashmir. And look at that one. Another very nice one, which we'll see at the end again. These I've never come across. The Pocket Lending Library. They almost look like the names are handwritten on. I just never seen anything quite like them. Generic covers. Some wartime effort of some sort, but quite what? Don't know. Never seen them before. There's Maurice there packing away. It was you just wouldn't believe, we just filled every box and bag we possibly could get our hands on. And it still wasn't quite enough. Absolutely incredible. What a collection. And I do feel privileged to have gone along and been able to really have a deep dive between on the two visits that we've made to it. This is another odd one, London Opinion. The cover artist is the same. I don't know who the cover artist is, so please comment down below. But very, very unusual, but just one of those odd runs. There was a huge pile of these. London Opinion. Never ever come across those before. And a Bookham Baby. And there we are. This is the van, looking very, very full. As you can see. A little bit of room, but I think weight-wise, it was as full as it could possibly be, without being dangerous. Right, so I'm here with Maurice. It's been another fantastic day on our second visit to Eric's collection. Still not quite got it all in the van, but we have put a few pieces to one side, haven't we, which we're going to have a little look through. Some of the more unusual bits that we found.
Well, it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of interest in a way, and you realise how Eric collected, and he collected a series, and there may be 3 or 4 different versions of that particular book in that series almost. And,
yeah.
So he whatever he could find, I think he was picking up really.
Okay.
So,
where do we start?
Where do we start?
So these are some of the more interesting bits that we found today, anyway.
Well, I'll show you a few of these other publishers. These are publishers that are contemporary with Penguin.
Yeah.
And maybe some people think that Penguin, in fact, were the main publishers at that time, and probably, published more stuff. And
yeah.
But there's a lot more publishers from that period, and I mean, some still stay on, like Hutchinson still produce books now, but primarily hardcovers. But I believe they did go to Errol. Some of these publishers publishing paperback under different names now.
That's right.
Things like Chevron books.
Yeah.
Again, maybe they chose the image again because of Penguins being plain covers, and they thought maybe plain covers are the thing to do.
They are really plain, aren't they? Yeah.
But there's another Hutchinsons here.
Yeah.
They did have dust jackets.
Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
The pre-war ones generally didn't.
Yeah.
They? Yeah.
But most of these Hutchinsons do because from that period.
And
Toucan, another one. I mean, there were quite a few publishers who decided to go with birds as the motif.
After Penguin, I guess.
Maybe after Penguin. Toucan was one. What's we got? This is a later Mellifont.
Okay, yeah.
And for some reason, Mellifont's decided to go for standard size paperbacks.
Yeah.
Without the illustrated covers, whereas the earlier ones. This is a Jack Shepherd, old-time prison breaker, and prolific getting out of prisons.
Yeah.
But this is an earlier copy, right?
Yeah.
Now, previous to this, in fact, I got it from the same collection.
Yeah.
Is the same image on the front, but a larger size again. So Melifonts have gone through 3 stages in producing this particular book: the larger one, this middle-sized one, and then eventually there was a standard-sized one, which is not on show here at the moment. Another one, we talked about toucans. Well, there was jackdaws as well.
That's right, yeah.
And they produced a number, and they're all numbered. So I mean, anybody wants to collect them, they can collect them by number. Yeah. And again, most of these had jackets. You can see the condition that
beautiful.
Eric collected these. I mean, these books you find in 1s and 2s out there in the wild, but never
unusual to get.
Never so many.
Yeah.
And that's Spartacus, by the way. I was going to pick that up because of the name, film connection. And it wasn't that Penguin had got all the best authors.
No,
I mean, Margie Allingham published in Penguin, as we know, and probably published that particular book in Penguin. Did she try with the book?
No, that's not what that was.
Was that not one of them? But anyway, she published in a Jackdaw as well.
Definitely, right,
More Hutchinsons.
Yeah.
Now we go to, this is a Gerald's, but they were kind of part of the Hutchinsons
sort of family
group. Yes. But the earlier books in the 30s, they came with nice covers, so they were nice illustrations.
Really nice.
And I'd still wonder if for some reason they dropped the nice illustrations to go to the Penguin image of just a plain cover.
Being plain, because that was what was evidently selling.
Well, that's right, it was selling, and it had credibility. I think it was because of the literary merit, probably, of Penguins, that they thought they'd become a
bit more highbrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When they and there's more Gerald's here.
Yeah.
Hutchinson's Pockets. Another group of books produced.
The Crime Book
Society.
Yeah.
And Hutchinson's again. So they
and numbered again.
And numbered again. Yeah. So Hutchinson's produced a series of books with different cover types.
Yeah.
With different
again, you might think
names.
The gun might be taken from the White Circle with the gun and the dagger.
Well, it could be.
Possibly.
Yeah, it could be.
It's all variations on the theme, isn't it?
Well, a lot of these are not actually dated. And somebody, I'm sure out there, is going to be telling us what the dates are, when these actually came out. Did they precede the Penguins, or did they come after the Penguins?
I think they were just after.
Just after, maybe. Yeah. This is dated 38.
Yeah, that'd be about right. Yeah. With a wrapper still. Yeah.
A popular author.
Yeah.
Now, this is one I've never seen before. The Devil Rides Out, of course, was made into a film, and it came out in Arrow. Yeah. And it came out in Arrow, early Arrow editions, in film tie-in editions. But this again is
the first paperback of it.
But it's Hutchinson, so you can see the connection between Hutchinson and Arrow paperbacks. And of course, Arrow was still.
We're Dennis Wheatley's hardback publisher as well.
Oh, right, okay,
that would have been natural.
True, yeah. And he was the same, really, when you think about it. Yeah, Dennis Wheatley, as you say, he was. So, the different form. I've never come across that one before.
Yeah, I have got a copy.
Have you?
But it's rare.
Is it right?
Yeah.
And
very nice.
I presume it would have come with a dust jacket, but there's none there. But
mine hasn't got one. Mine's like that, quite well read.
Yeah. So another series of books. I've not got them all here.
I saw those. Those are like books with a crossword puzzle in. You read the book, then do the crossword.
Oh, right, okay. No,
I've never seen anything like that before.
I just picked it up because it was a relatively early Hodder and Stoughton.
Yeah,
and
very
again,
unusual.
It's 1930s, in great condition, you're right. It's got somebody's attempted a crossword anyway. They've not managed to do it.
Very unusual.
Yeah. But Hodder and Stoughton produced a number of paperback editions, again in different formats. I mean, look at these. We've got a lot in colour, like this one.
Yeah.
Then we've got these black and white series. And I've not really seen much of the black and white series before. Again, they're usually undated, these, so they're just in the 30s. So, but this has actually got illustrations inside, which again I've never seen.
Very
that
unusual.
type of thing. Published in 1937, isn't
right?
it?
Okay, yeah.
So they were producing that type of book at the same time as other publishers producing this type of book. But eventually Hodder and Stoughton, and the film tie-in, started to reduce the size of the books, and they went down to this one, which is with a dust jacket. It's a Western with a dust jacket, and Again, whether it's dirty, I don't know. That's 1939.
Right.
So study had changed format.
Yeah.
And by the time they get into the 50s,
they're more
produce
familiar, aren't
this
they? Yeah.
format. And it's still larger, obviously, than the standard paperback format.
Yeah.
But they produce a lot by Charteris, Edgar Wallace, and the usual authors they dealt with. And then all these books, again, were very often reprinted under the Hodder imprint as a standard size paperback. That's from the 60s onwards, so late 50s and 60s onwards. We've got other things that turn West Library. I mean, these are just oddball things that turn up. The Mellifont.
Appointment with Fear.
Appointment with Fear. I think this probably ties in with the radio program.
Right.
There's a radio program, Appointment with Fear. This is published 1948.
Right.
But it's got the microphone, so I'm guessing that
like a radio chime of some sort. Yeah.
He got eclectic tastes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was lots of books on politics and history and Second World War. So you can see, things like this, Return of Calvin. I mean, they don't turn up. No. You never find them out there, really. At the time, again, Left Book Club. You've got a number of Left Book, which again, in the late 1930s, these are, fascism and the Jewish question. We all kind of know what happened after that. Now, Tenant for Death, that was published by Penguin.
Okay, and Cyril Hare, I recognise that.
Yeah, I don't know what number it was, but it wasn't early, I don't think. It wasn't that early anyway. But we've got one here that was published by Faber and Faber, and presumably published the hardcover in paperback. I thought I'd taken most of the what you might call gangsters, the sort of exploitation, girly covers, the ones that were in trouble with the law, and where people actually went to prison because of obscenity, based primarily on the cover illustrations rather than the content of the book. One of the famous books of this type was No Orchids for Miss Blandish. By James Hadley Chase.
Which we saw earlier.
Which filmed that one. Oh, you already filmed that one.
Yeah, filmed that one.
And these sort of apes, that kind of thing. They're American gangster type books. And the long-running series of the main one that sold 300,000. I mean, they're claiming millions of sales was Hank Jansen. Which was Stephen Francis.
Right, I found a few today.
And you can see they kept the typeface, the Hank Jansen typeface, goes across all these books, and they were in the mid-50s, early to mid-50s.
Beautiful
and
covers.
They are great covers by Reginald Heed, so many by Reginald Heed, not all. So you can see, and these are what we found today. I mean, I thought I'd just forget most of the gangster good girl stuff.
It shows how many books were actually
they were just tucked away. I mean, because we only saw the spine on, you couldn't really tell what you got at all.
That's right.
And there's a good group here. I mean, these are in great condition again.
Beautiful.
You can see, I mean, obviously they're not necessarily PC these days, but this is a retro vintage thing, and they've hardly collected, and usually most people love the covers, or Blonde on the Spot. Now, Eric didn't really do much. Loves Me Lovely, another one, Smart Girls Don't Talk. I mean, there's some great covers there. He didn't do a lot in science fiction.
No,
that wasn't his genre.
No.
But there was odd ones. I mean, this is one here, and I did get some earlier. Trembling World.
All right.
And it really is just because he collected very often by series of publishers.
And publisher,
And you can see that one actually. It's published by Stephen Francis.
Right.
He's the guy who wrote these and led to the publishing of these. And you can see again, that's a Gaywood Press, and most of these will be Gaywood Press as well. S.D. Francis, Gaywood Press. So I guess that's why Eric had got that book actually tied in with the same.
That makes sense. Absolutely.
Another famous gangster book was No Mean City.
All right.
Yeah, this is no image.
No.
There are editions that came out with an image. This is Big Ben books, but this Glasgow slums.
Right.
So that was the old razor gangs and such like in Glasgow, and that's published in 1940. So that precedes all these.
Very nice. Then the last couple of piles here. So yeah, so
Malcolm Saville,
looks like a
famous children's author. Famous children's
author.
author. Murder came out primarily in paperback anyway.
Yeah.
And again, they're highly collected and sought after. The Saville books, and he just read. I think that's primarily. But this is an uncorrected proof copy, which. There are a number of. I mean, this is just a good author. They were just sort of random authors in the main, but Malcolm Saville.
No, that's okay. That was we found that was the pseudonym.
Now this is another one which I wasn't even aware of James Doherty being James Hadley Chase. But
who'd have thought it? Thank goodness they put it on the front.
This is again. It says author of No Orchids for Miss Blandish. That was his famous book. Yeah, 270,000 copies sold at that point. Yeah, this is 158,000.
Looks really nice. The girl with a gun there.
Yeah.
These a few boxes.
Yeah. But again, these over the years, this image was in the 40s and 50s. Yeah. And they were, they dropped in more recent. I mean, they're published by Corgi, by Panther, in large numbers, but they're still sought after. Yeah, the later copies.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Not particularly exciting, but it is a Canadian book.
Okay.
So it may well be. It's a sort of Canadian, I suppose, crime gangster type thing. Yeah. Superior Publishers. Not. There was the odd thing in Eric's collection. Foreign editions of
it wasn't a lot,
but
though,
not much. No,
not a lot of foreign language at all.
No. Another series that Penguin produced was the New Writing series. Yeah. But they weren't the only ones. There was a whole pile published by Staples, another publisher at the time. So it wasn't just Penguin that was doing these things. No. This is 1943. Right. Now this is a Services edition. Of Having a Wonderful Crime by Craig Rice. Again, no cover art. No. Nicholson and Watson. Produced in 1946. That one.
A post-war one.
Oddball Sherlock Holmes thing. I mean, again, they're published in Penguin to a large extent, but this is John Murray. John Murray did quite a number of his
Conan Doyle's.
That's right. And the other Screaming World and other things. 1948. Just an oddball magazine with a great cover. That's a great
absolutely stacked
lady
of this
cover.
Sort of stuff in the collection, isn't there? Loads of annuals and guidebooks and travel guides,
all sorts of things. But he wasn't into artwork per se.
No,
he just bought a series of books, really.
That's it. Yeah,
and there's only an odd one of these, so that's the one that
unusual. Yeah.
Now, again, we mentioned Eric's interest in the politics of the 1930s, and obviously the resurgence of Russia, with Marx and Lenin, and the similar things. Frederick Muller from 1942.
Brilliant.
Of course, China. I don't think we understand China yet, but there we are. That's one of the starts, Alex.
Some more proofs here.
More proofs, by the look of it. Or more proofs. I'm not sure what these are for. A whole bunch of proofs.
And last little pile here.
And then there's more Hutchinsons, Baroness Hawkshead, Elizabeth Pimpernel. Again on TV, not many years ago.
I think I popped that in the pile because I thought, God, look, that's really unusual. Look at that.
Yeah,
amazing but true. And other stories of impudent rackets. It just looks brilliant.
It's a horror. Cover. Yes, it's what was popular at the time.
And the big liner.
It's a liner, isn't it? The horror with the hands and the liner.
It just looked great.
Yeah.
Convoy mag. There was
never seen these things. I've no idea what, but weird covers.
There's quite a few.
I'm not sure that there's anybody great in here author-wise, but that wasn't. That didn't matter to Eric. Collins Romance.
Unusual again. Yeah.
Now we were saying about Gerald before. We saw the Geralds before. Now the Geralds. Were effectively the same publisher as Hutchinson's, and we got two in similar format. Three in similar format.
Yeah, all quite nice.
All nice covers. This is. Do we know Stanley Unwin?
Yes.
We do know Stanley Unwin. Yes.
Wasn't he the guy in the Jerry Anderson show? Was that?
Yes. No, you were. He was a puppet. He was a puppet. Yeah, because he did he garbled the English.
Secret Service.
He garbled.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. Yeah. Humour. And there we go. I wasn't aware he'd written many books.
Oh,
but,
there you go, yeah.
The Balkans, 1940.
Right.
Again, wartime.
There was quite a bit of wartime stuff.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
collection,
Obviously, of historic interest, this because this was people's view at the time it was happening.
Yeah.
Before the major war began. Really, it was
off, yeah.
In the 1940s. Right. Well, I've not checked that one out, but you never know. It might how it ties up with what's actually happened with biology. Now, this is another one. Neville Heath. He was a famous murderer,
right.
murderer of women.
Yeah.
And eventually he was hung.
Borstal boy.
But he was. I guess he must have been a Borstal boy.
Yeah.
Now, again, I've never seen this. Various books on Neville Heath that turn up in paperback. John Hill Publications. But just an unusual book, I thought,
crazy.
It's got to be interesting as a read.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we've got, it was again...
Some of those pocket books, weren't there?
Yeah, it wasn't only Penguin that produced books on particular areas of Britain. Again, Hutchinson's, was at the same game. Fort in the Jungle. This was a series... it says Martin Library.
Yeah.
Now, what is that, House Martin?
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
I don't know, just thinking, what's the connection between that and the bird? But again, you've got, but this is for boys and girls, so it's kind of the Puffin equivalent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
At the time. And again, it's a numbered series. Now, where you find these, I don't know, but somebody could collect them.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a numbered series again. And you see Tom Brown's School Days, which obviously turns up a lot, but again, is in that Martin Library series. But this is just a bit of a cross-section of the things we've turned up today.
Yeah. I wanted to point this one out. This is the first ever paperback of Mysterious Affairs Styles. John Lane, 1933. I think this is published. So very, very, very rare.
That was again. There wasn't much else. Just that one was just tucked away on a
nothing
shelf.
on the spine, is it?
Yeah.
Little western in there. So, what's the best way then nowadays, Maurice, for people to, if they've seen something today or in the previous video, because you've been listing some stuff on eBay now, and it's been going right around the world.
That's mainly gangster type and good girl hours and some science fiction.
But the stuff people have seen today, head to the website or head to eBay. What's the best place?
Well,
both.
This is not going to be on the website for a long while.
No,
I don't think, because I've got so much of a backlog. But I mean, if anybody's interested, then just get in touch.
Just drop an email.
Drop me an email. zardoz at blueyonder.co.uk.
You got it. Well, I'll put that on screen. I'll put a link to your eBay page anyway in the description down below, and also the preferred website is Zardoz.
Zardoz. Yes, I get this right. ZardozBooks.co.uk.
ZardozBooks.co.uk.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And one last thing, of course, we've got the book fair coming up now. So it's all booked in for Saturday, the 8th of February.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want to come and meet us both in the flesh, along with some other book dealers, and see loads of stock, that's the place to go, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, last time it was very successful. We had several other dealers, and we got well over 100 people.
Oh, yeah, easy. It was fantastic.
Turnout. Yeah.
And it's a Saturday this time, so it should be much easier for travelling down.
There was issues last time,
yeah. Brilliant.
Okay,
thanks, Maurice.
thanks very much. Cheers.
Okay, so a quick look through the books that I picked up yesterday, and some of these were just filling in little gaps in my own collection. So I've got a few of these Hutchinson specials, and I particularly like the wartime related themes because I think they're really interesting. So I tend to pick those up when I find them. I also picked up some missing Hutchinson pocket guides. So I've got a fair run of these, but these were all ones that I didn't actually have, and I mean, they're really sort of cheap and cheerful to get hold of. They're not particularly scarce or anything like that, but it was quite nice to fill in a few gaps. I picked up an odd toucan, so I realised after the last trip that I had number 22, but it was in a reprint form. It was a 1 in 6 reprint, so I wanted to pick up the first. I saw that there was another copy in the collection there. Some more, it's another pocket special there. Italy and Suez. Battle of Flanders. It's unusual here that the Quislings, Hitler's Trojan horses. Don't know much about that one. And another one here, France talks with Hitler. Maybe they're trying to come to some sort of agreement at that time rather than be invaded. It's quite a nice one as well. Look at that, rationed recipes. So obviously wartime rationing. Very, very interesting. Let's put those over there. Death to the Führer. A brilliant narrative reconstruction of various attempts made on the life of Adolf Hitler. Oh. Will America fight? So obviously this is pre-Pearl Harbor. America haven't joined the war yet. This was an upgrade, so I have actually got this one. This ties in with the Hutchinson hardback A Century Of series. I believe this is in far better condition than the one I've actually got, and I've only ever seen one before, so that's actually an upgrade to my collection. This one I wasn't 100% sure if I actually had it from the last haul or not. It is a services edition. Quite an interesting stamp. This book must not be taken away from the manor. I haven't got around to sorting out the Hutchinson ones yet. One more Hutchinson pocket special there, one on Stalin. Then we had some Hodder and Stoughton services editions, which these were just the doubles from Eric's collection. The main lot, Maurice has got those from last time, but there was 3 of them. In fact, 4. So quite nice to get those service editions. One more Hutchinson pocket special, Turkey Today. Another John Long 4-square service edition. This is the Toft Proceeds. Once again, I couldn't remember if I had that one or not. Then we've got 2 hardback services editions. This one is Lewis Golding, No News from Helen. It says it's a Hutchinson. So these are just rebound. But it's, I think this is exactly how some of these were actually produced. And this is another one, Mr. Emmanuel, which is actually a toucan service edition. So some of them did get rebound like in this format. So curiosity pieces more than anything else. And one of these, which is in everybody's rebound. So there was a few of these in the collection, and Maurice said, well, you might as well take this one, because just as an example, really. So this was a wartime rebound done by Everybody's Books in Charing Cross. It's got the name of the book stamped on it and on the spine. It's got like a buff cover. So the original Penguin copy of this has been taken off. And there we are. It's been replaced. It's just been rebound with these plain covers. So that was actually the first printing. So it's basically given a book during wartime that extra chance to survive, which is fantastic. But there you are. So that is the second haul from Eric's amazing collection. I mean, really, really superb to get so many great books. I'm absolutely over the moon to be able to go along with Maurice and film these delights. Now, as I said, Maurice has got his book fair on Saturday, the 8th of February. So there's a chance to go along to Maurice's warehouse and view the books and buy anything that you want yourself, because it's going to be a great fair. I should be there myself. I'll be bringing along all my spare Penguin stock and a few other bits and pieces as well. So I'll have loads of stuff to be getting rid of that day as well. So do make that if you can. If not, you now know the web address, and you can just drop Maurice an email, because it might be some time before all of this stuff sort of hits the website. So drop him an email if there's something you particularly want, and I'm sure he'll sort you out. Thanks very much for watching today. If you've enjoyed it, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.